Hello, I'm Craig Griffin, and this is the campaign for Real Qual, where we explore where qual research is heading as we move into 2026. And after taking a break, it's really great to be back, and I've got lots of things lined up for you in the coming weeks. I've really been inspired by attending the recent conference in Bangkok, the IEX APAC, just a couple of weeks ago. And today we're going to be exploring a new entrant in the qual at scale space. These are a couple of gentlemen I met at the conference, and I think they're doing some really interesting things. Now, this is the first time we've had someone from the research tech space participate in the campaign. And I just want to reassure listeners that the campaign is still impartial. There are no sponsors. I invite people who I think have something genuinely interesting and useful to share. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce Davin and Joven. So Davin is the founder and CEO of Cookiy AI, an engineer turned product and growth leader from Instagram, TikTok, and Tencent. He scaled multiple B2C products to 100 million plus users and oversaw $7 billion in cumulative R&D, marketing, and user market research spend in B2B. Sorry, in B2B, he built a profitable global ads business at $1 billion plus revenue scale. Joven is the Chief Revenue Officer at Cookiy AI, where he leads global growth and enterprise adoption of AI moderated user research. He brings over a decade of market research and consulting experience across Nielsen, Statista, and Cint, having led large-scale multi-market research programs across the US, Europe, and Asia, helping organizations translate real conversations into product growth and commercial decisions at scale. So a very warm welcome, Davin and Joven. I'm delighted that you could join us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Now, the qual scale space has been around 2 or 3 years now. There are already some established players in the space. So what are you guys doing differently?
Thanks for the question. So I can take it, and then Joven can add on. So there are a total of, I believe, 30 to 40 companies claiming to doing the qual research conducted by AI, assisted by AI, or like totally replacing human moderators. So what we're doing differently has threefold. The first is fundamentally, we believe human moderation and human moderators, human researchers are still necessary, very, very important. And we are doing whatever we can to enhance humans, not replace humans. That's the philosophy side. And the second fold is that the product features we're building, we're leveraging the latest technology just developed in 2025, especially thinking models, real-time voice AI models, and the large language models that become very, very good at multimodality expression and multimodality understanding. So we are the second mover advantage taker. We built the product to be very, very advanced, not something like you'll see for the past few years. That's number two. Number three is that we're not only trying to serve the client side, which is the demand side, but also we have the mindset to serve the supply side, which is the respondent, the respondent panels and individual respondents. We want to bring value to them as well, so that in the long run we could be the bridge connecting the two sides. So we are building the features for both sides, and it's going pretty well right now. So yeah, Joven, feel free to add.
I think Davin said it quite spot on. Our goal here, or our company philosophy today is convenience with control. While AI can provide you the full scale of convenience, our philosophy is to make sure that at every step of the way where the product is being developed, researchers and core researchers or analysts or users themselves have full control of every single step to jump in. Like when it comes to discussion guide development, you will have the ability to make amendments or ask the AI to make amendments. And then when it comes to recruitment, it's full of flexibility. You can do it yourself. You can do it via the AI. You can do it via our panel. We have created an ecosystem where partners, agency, freelancers, including research tech companies like ourselves can coexist together with the acceleration of AI. So it's not so much about a replacement, but more about how can we coexist and make this industry scale faster and adapt to the fast-changing trends.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I sort of took out when I met you at the conference. And I remember, Joven, we had a chat and it stood out to me that it seemed like you wanted to you wanted to teach AI how Qual works. And in fact, we had a conversation. I remember you said that you'd invested a lot on teaching AI how Qual works. Could you share with me the kind, what investment you did and what you tried to teach it?
Right. I can't give you the full details, but when we first started this company, when Davin first started this company, the 2 or 3 of us were scratching our head, how can we create a platform that serves qualitative research to serve a space that is so driven by humans and emotions that we don't know where to start. So as surprising as it sounds, all of us put on the thinking hats of core researchers. So what do I mean by that? So in traditional speaking, we always conduct our core research behind a one-way mirror where the clients, the researcher will observe how the moderator moderate the session. So we take one step further. There is another one-way mirror for Davin and myself and the team to observe how the moderator moderates the session and how the clients and the researcher operates behind the scene as well. So you kind of see both ends because you are serving both sides. I think that's one of the largest gap that we have seen, and that is also one of the strongest advantage that we have. Also, the reason why we are able to build something so sophisticated in such a short span of time.
Yep. And adding on from the tech perspective, it's actually not that easy to inject knowledge into AI and to control the hallucination and make sure AI could leverage humans' knowledge very well, especially from end to end, like a core study will involve a lot of AI agents or say sub-agentic AI to do the subtasks. So what we did is that we leverage most of the SOTA models right now you can find and add on our fine-tuned layer plus the huge amount of data we've already collected and plus our controlled layer, our observer layer, plus our like a human observation and human control on that to make sure AI is able to adopt what it's learned and apply in a good way that can be human evaluated, monitored, and interfered if necessary. So it's quite a sophisticated engineering problem. Plus, how can we control AI in a good way? So it's quite engineering challenging and scientifically challenging as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I've always, had this thought about the Qual at scale platforms that, as someone that's worked in the industry 30 years, I sometimes had a feeling that the more that we move away from the human side, and I think the promise of Qual at scale is that it can almost be insights on demand. It can be frictionless. It can really reduce the need for human input. But I think in moving in that direction, I've always felt there's a danger that as researchers we lose the sort of closeness to what we're listening to. So I think what you're building, with the ability to, to capture the closeness of the researcher, to be involved through the whole process, retains that closeness. Because I think there's a danger, in my point of view, once you distance yourself from the research, you set up your project, you have AI moderation, the platform recruits, you're given sort of analysis at the end. You lose the ability to embed the insights, in yourself, and then that when you're then trying to persuade a client to take action, you've just lost that closeness. So that was really interesting to me. It seemed to me that you were recognizing how Qual works, and that as a researcher, we've got to stay very close to what we're learning, and we've got to internalize what we're learning and that's the only way that we can deliver something powerful. Any sort of further thoughts on that idea?
For sure, for sure. I can chime in a little bit. So previously, I incubated many B2C products back in Instagram, Tencent, TikTok. And by the time, we also spent a lot of budget in terms of doing market research and user understanding, user research, user interviews. And I commanded my team, every product manager, every product operation, every growth and marketer should run the interviews themselves, not delegating all the work into Nielsen and into the agencies that we work with. And like I had the luck to be collaborating with Joven back then, but I was in an urgency of those kind of we want the projects to run in parallel, but I also want my people working in the B2C products to know the details of their users. So I had that mindset very deeply. So that's why we're building our Cookiy AI in a way that human moderation is able to take place and necessary, especially when the human researcher is not so familiar with this topic. And we deliberately built a special mode called instruction mode so that AI could observe and learn from human moderations. And as long as a human moderator takes 2 sessions, then AI could be take the rest. And when AI is taking over the rest, human moderators, they can even observe and interfere the real-time AI moderated sessions on the fly, so that we ensure that human moderators is always in the loop and always has the first-hand feelings and that fresh information into their mindset. So we deliberately design the system to be so, if and especially when the client want their researchers to be hand-on. And yes, we also provided the a hands-off mode, fully conducted by AI. Yes, but this is a very unique feature that our clients are super happy with. So yeah.
Okay, I think that's wonderful that you're building it with that in mind, because that was always my concern, that you lose the distance to the research. One of the other interesting conversations I think that's happening in the qual industry at the moment is so obviously qual at scale, is the growth part of the industry. And there's a debate around where the growth might come from. So for example, the growth could come from traditional qual approaches. There's an argument that it could come from quantitative, because what was previously done through online panels could now be done through more sort of conversational surveys, I guess you could call them. So there's an argument it could come from quant. There's another argument that it could actually come from areas, workflows where primary research wouldn't have been commissioned at all. So I wondered if do you have a vision about where you see your growth coming from?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
let me. Oh yeah, sorry, Davin.
Joven, you're the expert in that. You can take this.
So let me take it from a research perspective here. I think one of the biggest problems that I had in the past, or one of the biggest problems that I've heard from a lot of my customers or clients in the past is, hey, I've done a quant research, I've done a qual research, I've also done research among my CRM, but all of the data that I've accumulated, they don't talk to each other. And a lot of times there are huge discrepancies and differences. So I think when it comes to growth, I think it's right for you to point out, Craig, that it might come from quant, but at the same time, it might also come from the CRM side of things, where I call it a synergy and triangulation of data points. So instead of in the past, where we do a quantitative survey where we are interviewing a whole different set of people, and then qual, we interview a whole different set of people, including our CRM, we cannot effectively drive KPI, because at the end of the day, brands and businesses wants to drive growth, wants to drive business. And in order to do so, they have to be able to critically combine the data together to make sense of it and to come up with a right strategy to tackle them. I think that's one of the key factors here. And then another point is you mentioned that it might come not from this industry. It is possible as well. Think about it. Market research is a very expensive activity that is not very accessible to everyone, which
Correct. Yeah.
means, technically speaking, I can be a product manager, I can be a SME, I can be a individual contributor who wants to run research, but I just don't have a 50 grand back in my pocket just to spend. Right? So the idea here is how can we scale it in a way that not only is it friendly to the big guys, but it's also friendly towards individual contributors, SMEs who wants to run real research to drive KPIs.
Yep.
Okay.
Adding
Sorry.
on to that, thinking about like Cloud Code, Cursor, these vibe coding tools will enable building a new product very, very fast and very, very easy. So we could assume that there might be many, many one-person companies
Yeah.
emerging, and by the time building something isn't that hard, but deciding what to build could be the next very strong moat. And Cookiy AI is designed for these individuals, founders, product managers who also wanted to build something from their own, and maybe they're just not sure what to build, and they want to hear from their potential users and customers on what's their pinpoint, right? So it's like nowadays, look at our engineers. It's easy that one engineer will burn a 1,000 US dollars of tokens overnight just by building like several cloud code agents to build the software for him. But like think about if you can leverage several $100, and then you can like directly aim at the exact pain point from your users, then your engineering tokens would be a very well spent, right? It's actually a very good deal. So
Yeah.
we envision that uh, many of these developers, product managers, or early stage founders could be our heavy users moving forward.
And that makes sense because I mean, definitely AI has democratized access to innovation. And I can't remember. It's just popped up in my head. I think reading something that somebody had said that they felt, we're not too far in the distant future. There'll probably be a $1 billion solopreneur, that's been able to build a huge company just on their own because they've used AI smartly and been able to scale. So I think you're right to point out that yeah, there's a lot more innovation available to a lot more people, access to build things, and that those are the people that wouldn't traditionally have hired, market research agencies. What one of the big themes for me at the conference. Now, I appreciate you, the two of you, maybe didn't get a chance to see that many of the presentations because I know that you had a booth there. But one of the themes of the or the discussion points of the conference was about what is unique about human intelligence. I think there's an acceptance and of course a realization of the efficiency gains that AI brings. And so I think we're past the sort of resistance stage, and now we're in this stage where we're all kind of scratching our heads a bit, figuring out, okay, what is uniquely human? What is human intelligence relative to artificial intelligence? So with that sort of thought in mind, what's uniquely human? What would your advice be for qualitative practitioners who are pondering on this thought of, what's unique about me? What's unique about being human?
Yep. Actually, Joanne and I have been discussing this topic for quite a long time. And there's one domain that I, with my engineering team, has put so much resource to work on, but still far from human. That is uh, the ability from human to sense the non-textual information. And
Mm,
these information might from the micro expressions on the face, might be the tones changed, might be a very small gesture on the body movement. So yes, our AI is probably the only AI in the market that could be observing your facial, analyzing your tones, analyzing your body movements, tracking your eyebrow, tracking your muscle movement. Yes, we are the only capable AI there, but still it's far from human, especially from human experts level. So what we recommend our clients usually do is that, hey, for the important conversations with some specific respondents, we encourage our like our clients, researchers, even our clients' product teams to be entering the same observation room and see how our AI is tracking the user's movement. And sometimes our AI will pop up signals like, hey, the user's body movement and facial expression changed, but AI is maybe not able to detect or like in a deeper understanding on why is that. So people please pay attention to. So in that, we feel it's a very good combination of AI's like always on tracking capability together with humans non-textual high level understanding on user intent. So that is a very special case that our clients are heavily adopting our AI. There are many other use cases, but since you're asking the uniqueness of human, that is the first case that come into my mind.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad you recognize that, because I think for me ultimately you have a lot more credibility, in this space. When you do recognize those things that are uniquely human. I think as qual practitioners, we know it's often the unsaid that's as important as the said. I'm based out of Thailand. I've been working in this part of the world for 20 years or more. And in a lot of these markets, Thailand, Japan's another good example. These are high context cultures where a lot of the meaning is outside of the language and the words. So I think what you're just describing sort of fits in with that idea that you, in terms of meaning making, especially in those high context languages, the human is really important. And it's great that, I mean, who knows where we'll get to in 2 or 3 years or 5 years if AGI ever materializes, what that brings us. But I think for right now, from what I can see, that's still uniquely human. And I think that's why having a platform that tries to work together alongside humans is to me the sweet spot of using the technology kind of smartly. So that's great. Okay, I'm just conscious of time. I think probably we'll wrap up soon. It's been very interesting talking with you guys. I'm gonna leave you with one final question, probably a bit of an impossible question, but I'll ask it nonetheless. So, if you had a crystal ball and you were looking 5 years into the future, what do you think the qualitative research industry will look like in 5 years? We can come back to this in 5 years' time and see how close you were and do another podcast if you want. But how do you see it in 5 years' time, the qualitative research industry?
Yep. Joven, you want to go first?
I'll let Davin take this one first, and then I'll supplement it.
Okay. Yeah. So, looking at this from AI and engineering and machine learning perspective, I would say that even though our company's technology is one of or the most advanced in this area right now, where we have the multimodality understanding, facial recognition, and human moderation plus AI observation plus AI moderation with human observation and human interference, these kind of advanced technology. And we've also developed the so-called agentic voice AI, which we trained the AI moderator to be very high EQ, high IQ, low latency, we're probably the best AI moderator in the world right now, based in Silicon Valley. But what I foresee in the, like, maybe not in 5 years, maybe we just need 2 or 3 years. By that time, I suppose every possible company or every possible human, you don't even need to be an engineer. You just write one line of code, and then vibe coding, AI coding will help you build the same advanced AI moderator that we've been already built already.
Okay.
But I would assume that with the AI age, maybe not even ASI or AGI, that day will come, might be even sooner or faster. So what we could do is that we leverage our technology advantage and grow faster, serve our clients and serve our respondents community, and leverage the 2 to 3 years to make sure every party from this industry is already enhanced and have value add, and then we could possibly become another thing that Joven and I has been talking about for a long time. So I think what important is not keep looking at the technology itself, because it'll democratize like in the long run, but to adding value to the both sides to the industry, so that we could have a invincible position. So that's our gut feeling for the coming years.
Okay. Joven, anything that you want to add to
I mean,
answer the impossible question?
to be very frank, right? Technology is advancing in a really rapid pace here, and we want to be very responsible when it comes to sharing. We want to be very responsible when it comes to developing a product that acts like a Jarvis to the Tony Stark, and then you operate the suit and not we operate the suit. Jarvis just act as like an AI support to suggest what is the right trajectory. So if we go back to the evolution of a quantitative survey, right? When SurveyMonkey, Decipher, Confirm It, or even SPSS first come in the picture, there was a lot of resistance as well, right? There was a lot of people saying that, hey, I still prefer to do it on Excel. I still prefer to write the questionnaire. But at the end of the day, after a short 5 years, we realized that everybody's on Confirm It. We realize everybody's on SPSS. I think we are going through the same phase right now. We just need to find the right flow to fit into it. And I guess from now to the 5th year in a crystal ball format, rather than telling you what is going to be the endpoint, I think for market researchers and qualitative researchers, my only take here is you got to be more open-minded to taking risk. You got to, be more daring when it comes to trying out new flows to find a process that actually works for your company, because everybody operates very differently. And I do believe that in a future where AI automates everything or majority of things, our ability to identify that flow that works for our company or for you as a solopreneur is actually the winning factor or elements, or the ingredients that are going to make you different. If not, all the reports is going to look the same, and then you will have a copycat identity crisis issue.
And that's a really nice way to end, because actually that was the topic which I presented at the conference with David Cotton, which was basically about how to use AI to amplify your originality rather than just focus on efficiency. So that's something that very much we believe in, that in this race to be efficient and drive down costs, which is of course is important, we've got to remember that there are ways to use AI which you can amplify your own uniqueness, and that I think is a really nice way to end. But yes, we do need to be open-minded, and we do need to take some risks, and I think I would agree with that sentiment as well. So we're out of time today, so we'll close this here. Thank you very much, Davin and Joven. It's been a pleasure to chat with you guys. I hope to meet you again at another conference. If you're coming to through Bangkok, please let me know. And I'm sure if any of our listeners want to get in touch and learn more about what you're doing, I will share share your details. So
Hey,
that's a wrap for
100%.
today. Thanks once again. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much, Craig.